So, moving on to the tour, it basically started out as the Jumbo-Visma domination right from the gun. And we saw an incredible, unexpected win on the first stage from Mike Teunissen, who was supposed to be leading out Dylan Groenewegen.
I absolutely love the team that Jumbo-Visma has put together. This is a squad that seemed like they were doing a little bit of soul searching about 5 years ago. They were not finding a lot of success, and they looked to the youth. They have brought up a lot of young talent, and it is really, really paying off for them now, and they continue to do so. Mike Teunissen, he's a former U23 World Cyclocross champion. They, of course, have former three-time elite World Cyclocross champion Wout van Aert as well, who is absolutely flying. This team, after this really surprise victory by Teunissen on stage one, they went into the yellow jersey and then completely smashed everybody in the team time trial. That for me came out of nowhere. I did not expect Jumbo-Visma to win, let alone win by such a commanding margin. That was huge for this team.
Yeah, it seemed like it was going to be the typical Team Ineos dominate the team time trial, and out of nowhere, Jumbo-Visma. I think it's, one, like you're talking about, the riders that they've been developing, it's paying off now. And two, I think they had the yellow jersey, like, it does something special. It just, like, gives you that extra drive, and they showed it in that team time trial. And Wout van Aert was in the white jersey all the way up through stage 5. He was second to Peter Sagan. He's putting on a great display in his first Grand Tour. But then Peter Sagan.
Yeah, let's talk about something that isn't surprising. Peter Sagan wearing the green jersey pretty much from the first stage. He just shows up to the Tour de France and puts it on. It just feels like home for him. It's pretty incredible to see. He, of course, has not had the best spring, but he is back to doing what everybody expects him to do. Really, the story there, I think, is the pressure that Sagan has been having to cope with this year from not being on his typical Sagan-esque domination all season. He has always made sure to kind of shoot down journalists when they ask him if he gets a second or a third place. You always hear journalists ask him, so are you disappointed to not win? And Sagan, I love his answer. He's always been like, second place is great. Third place is great. What's wrong with you? Why would I be disappointed? And I think that that's a great attitude for Sagan to have. I do think that these questions have worn on him, especially this year, though, because the expectations are just so great. Keep in mind, an average race for Sagan is beyond the capability of 90% of the riders in the peloton. And that's just, it's hard to do day in, day out. And we're kind of seeing that catch up to Sagan a bit. He is a little bit more testy than usual in these post-race interviews, but he's got the goods to back it up right now, and I don't see anybody being able to tear that green jersey off of his shoulders for the rest of this tour.
Yeah, he seems like he's just going to do what he always does every year at the tour. No matter what it looked like in the whole season building up to it, green jersey's his to lose.
Definitely. And your pick, Michael Matthews, how are you feeling about that now?
Yeah, well, considering Michael Matthews himself said he's not on his best form, there's just something a little bit off.
But just my feeling is not great at the moment. I'm not super happy. But yeah, I'm just giving it everything I have.
We got an interview on the site with him, and if he doesn't have belief in himself, I don't know if I have that much belief in him. He could still win a stage. I'm not counting him out, but I don't think the green jersey is in the cards for him this year.
Already writing Matthews off. Okay, we do have a lot of interviews on the site coming from the Tour de France, even though we are not streaming it. I am going to put in a little plug, though. If you did not catch the news, FloBikes will be streaming the Tour de France live and on demand next year in 2020 to our Canadian viewers, so that's very exciting. In the meantime, though, do keep up with the content that we are producing about it. Let's get into what we saw on today's stage, because it was the first mountaintop finish of the Tour.
And who was it that showed up? None other than Giulio Ciccone. And he went for every single mountains point that he could. He's still behind Tim Wellens in the mountains classification, but my did he put on a show, especially considering how tired he should be from the Giro.
Yeah, this is incredible. I was kind of surprised that Ciccone was even on the Trek roster after the ride that he did at the Giro. he was absolutely infallible in the Grand Tour in Italy this just 2 months ago. He got pretty much every single mountains point. Halfway through the race, there was no competition for the KOM jersey. Giulio Ciccone was just so dominant in every breakaway. Nobody could keep up with him over the top of any climb. And today, at the Tour de France, Giulio Ciccone has stated his intention to seemingly do the exact same thing. This is huge. I don't think that Trek really knew that he was going to be this good today, because not only has he asserted himself for the KOM jersey, he walked away from the stage wearing the yellow jersey.
Yeah.
He got second place, is wearing the yellow jersey. This is amazing by Giulio Ciccone. He was just a pro continental rider last year for the Bardiani CSF team. If you've been paying any attention, you will see that he has been incredibly strong on any climb that he can get himself to as he worked his way up through the lower professional ranks. But this is a huge, huge signing for Trek Segafredo, and I am really, really excited to see just what he can do. I don't know if he's going to have the legs to contest the real GC riders. Keep in mind, he did do this performance out of a breakaway today, but I think the sky's the limit for this kid when it comes to climbing.
Yeah, Ciccone definitely is Mr. Polka Dots, and it'll be interesting to see if he can take the jersey at the Tour and get 2 mountains classifications in a row. Speaking of mountains classifications, what about your pick for the mountains? How do you feel about good old Thomas de Gent today?
I was feeling a little bit good when I tuned into the Tour today, seeing Thomas de Gent and Tim Wellens, the current polka dot jersey wearer. In the breakaway, they were working in tandem, the two teammates, of course. Thomas de Gent did pick up a few breakaway points, but he was clearly looking after Tim Wellens, and he made a daring solo escape, didn't work, and he pretty clearly checked out. It does not seem like Thomas de Gent has the hopes of the polka dot jersey that I had for him, but that's okay. Wellens is keeping it alive in the Lotto Soudal family for the time being.
Yeah, and let's get into the finale. Even just the final kilometer was insane. You know, you got riders going on the gravel, and then it just gets insanely steep, and you just started to see gaps blowing open left and right.
This was a brutal, brutal finish, and my takeaway from the stage is Geraint Thomas he put a shot across the bow for all his competitors who think that Thomas may not have the goods to replicate another win at the Tour de France. He came out of the pack with about 100 meters to go, something like that, and put a clean handful of seconds into his GC rivals, all the way down to Rigoberto Urán and Mike Woods of EF. They were kind of taking up the rear of the GC group rolling into the line. Geraint Thomas put 18 seconds into them. This was a big ride from Thomas. Further back in the middle of the group, we could see Egan Bernal kind of shaking his head, trying to deal with the accelerations of all his riders in the closing meters of the stage. You know, you can read into that what you will, but it looks like Geraint Thomas has definitely done his homework. For anyone who doubted him, he's gonna be good this Tour.
Yeah, he definitely silenced all the haters today with that finish on La Planche de Belfi.
I think so. I am really looking forward to seeing them get back into the mountains. However, we have a sprint day tomorrow. Do you have a pick for tomorrow?
I'm going to go with Elia Viviani. After that stage win that he's already got, I think his confidence is coming back, and it looks like a good stage for him. He can get through those first few mountains and run it into the line. His
Dakuna Quick-Step team was incredible, actually, as they took him into the line. For that stage, it was a red carpet ride. If you lost after the lead out that Elia Viviani got that day, you shouldn't be a professional. That was just absolute perfection by Dakuna Quick-Step. It's going to be hard to beat Viviani tomorrow, I'll give it to you. I am, however, going to go for green jersey Peter Sagan.
All right.
Yeah, time will tell. Got a sprint day tomorrow, a couple upbeat stages through the weekend, and the action will continue. We will be back with you next week.
Yeah, make sure you check out all the interviews and content that we've got around the tour on the site, and we will see you later.